I was lucky to live in a large house as a kid. My house had a side room towards the back side of the first floor. My siblings called it the spare room. It had an old recliner, a small table, and a mid-sized couch. Nothing more. We hardly ever sat in there. One morning, I woke up sick and told my mom how I felt. She told me to take a day off from school and stay at home. My siblings were in school, and my parents were at work. I had the entire house to myself. I laid in bed for a couple of hours until around 10:30 a.m. when I heard steps walking coming from the first floor. At first I thought nothing had happened and assumed that Mom ran late for work, as she had sometimes done. I needed something to eat anyway, so I woke up, stood up from my bed, and started walking downstairs to the kitchen. I walked around 3 feet to the kitchen's doorway. I thought my mom was in there, but I locked eyes with a strange-looking tall man. I was frozen in fear and just stood there. The strange guy stared back. I immediately pulled myself out of the shock and bolted for my bedroom upstairs. I didn't hear him following me, but I entered my bedroom and moved the dresser in front of the door just in case he followed me. I pulled out my phone and called my mom instead of 911, as I should have. I screamed on the phone, telling her there was someone in the house trying to kill me. She told me not to leave my room and call the police, so I did as she instructed. 15 minutes later, the police finally showed up, and I could see them from my bedroom window. I watched them enter the house. I left my room and ran downstairs to them for safety. I told the police everything that happened. They did a quick search of the entire house and found nothing, not a single person or a broken window or door. My parents came home shortly after. They were furious that the guy hadn't been caught. I was furious as well, but relieved that I was alive. The police started leaving, but one of the last officers, on his way out, noticed some trash bags sticking out from under the couch. It was the couch in the side room that no one ever used. We checked and saw hundreds of trash bags along with our items, such as wipes and water bottles. Whoever that strange man in the kitchen was, he had been living under the couch for weeks. I couldn't comprehend how any of us hadn't smelled the garbage that piled under there for the entire time he had been there. The fact he didn't make a single noise baffles me. We have since cleaned that room and put in some wooden chairs so no more people can break in and find free housing there. As I'm about to go to college in a few months, I don't have to live in fear of such incidents happening again for much longer. But I still think about it every time I wake up with a cough. Although it doesn't seem like it, this happened a while back, probably over 10 years ago. I was in the late years of high school, and I was home alone. My parents were at a wedding that required them to stay at a hotel while my brother worked the night shift. At that time, my family lived in a well-known East Coast city inside a blue-collar neighborhood. As a teenager, I was a loner. I wasn't a nerd or anything, but I was a big guy who had friends and went on dates. I was naturally an introvert, so I cherished the rare time I had alone. I was looking forward to engaging in my normal empty house routine this weekend. Play PlayStation, watch TV, and order late takeout dinner. I fell asleep on the couch with my old dog, Cecil. He had been with my family for nearly 8 years. He was old and peaceful, spending his time begging for food and sleeping. Unlike most dogs, Cecil hardly barked. He was more than content to rest his head on your lap and spend the night there. It was around 1 a.m. when I finished the last slice of pizza and started to doze off on the couch when I heard a bang from the basement. I didn't give it much thought. Anyone who lives in the city knows that this happens almost every night. Cecil's head popped above my lap and the hair behind his back stood up. I calmed him down, but there was another bang 2 minutes later. Cecil did something I have never witnessed him do before. He leapt off the coach and ran like the wind towards the door leading to the basement, barking and growling like a dog twice his size. The look on his face reminded me of a German Shepherd canine. I had never seen an act like that, which got my adrenaline pumping. There was a seldom used door at the back of our basement. It was old, rusty, and hard to open, even with the key. I suddenly realized that someone was trying to break into the house through that door. It's general knowledge that someone trying to break into your home will move away after learning the door is locked. But when someone persistently tries to enter your door when it is locked, they probably are not there to steal. Knowing this, I rush it upstairs to get a heavy baseball bat I have always had under my bed for situations like this. Then I headed to the basement. I should have run, but I was a teenager with a tough guy attitude. As I was heading to the basement, Cecil ran past behind me with the speed of a dog half his age. Suddenly, I heard a man's voice say, "Fuck." The banging stopped, and I didn't call a cop or anyone else. I just set out for the rest of the night with the baseball in my hands. My brother returned home in the morning, and I told him everything that happened. He went to the basement and checked the door carefully. The basement door fell down when he opened it. From the look of the door, the intruder in our home was a step away from getting in, but Cecil scared him off. I'm pretty sure that old dog saved my life. I was 13, and a thunderstorm had just started. Because our home was in a tornado-prone area, I always slept downstairs in Dad's room for my safety, because I'm a heavy sleeper. It was around 12:43 p.m., and I was viewing some YouTube videos on my phone to pass time. As the rain hit the roof, I heard my dad's car pull out of the driveway. I lived in a small town where everybody knew everybody, so my dad wasn't the only one with a car like his. I assumed he would be coming downstairs to sleep, because he had been working the entire day. I collected my things and took the dog to another room without waiting for my father to come in. After waiting for some time, I walked to a window that was directly facing the driveway. I could see the entire driveway from this window, so there was no way any car on the driveway wouldn't be seen. But there wasn't a car on the driveway. There was nothing. I thought I mistook my dad's car for a car driving on the driveway next to our house. I later remembered my dad telling me he would be coming home at around 2 a.m. I walked over and sat back down, but immediately realized that the car sound never left the driveway, even though no vehicle was there. I was surprised, but thought it wasn't a big issue because people always park randomly around the houses. A few minutes passed, and I heard my dad's car from the garage. I thought he was finally home and was relieved because the storm had started to pick up. I only got more frightened when I realized I hadn't heard the garage door open, so he wasn't yet home. I was too scared to look through the window again, so I waited. The rain was beginning to hit the house harder. The roaring thunder was getting louder, and the lightning was getting brighter. I heard my dad's voice calling out my name softly. It was then that I realized that there was someone or something in the house. I looked at my dog, and the pet just looked confused, as if he had not heard anything. I sat back down and remained as quiet as I could until I eventually passed out. I woke up at 4 a.m. and immediately ran to the window. I looked through and saw my dad's car in the driveway, so I knew he was home. I ran upstairs and told my dad everything that had happened. I don't believe in ghosts or anything, but someone who wasn't my father called my name that night. What would have happened if I had walked up those stairs and followed the voice? I don't know what happened that night, but I can't help but feel uncomfortable in my own house now.